I recently read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I really enjoyed it. I got a lot of great ideas out of it. Something that really surprised me about the book was that it wasn't about habits like waking up early or drinking more water. It was actually about habits that were mindset shifts, so different ways to think about your life so that you can achieve your goals and live a more effective life. One concept that really stood out to me in the book was a way that the author described to plan your weeks and plan your months so that you could be more focused on your priorities in life and achieve your goals more easily. I realized that what the author was describing was very similar to what I was already doing, except that it was a lot simpler and more elegant, and so I decided to adopt it as my own way of planning. Obviously, I can't take any credit for this, but I've been doing it for some time now and it's been working really well for me, so I wanted to share with you exactly how I've been applying these strategies to my own life. Now, the first step is understanding actually what your priorities are so that you know where you should be spending your time and what things you should be filling your schedule with, because you can be efficient all day long and get so much done, but if you're getting the wrong things done, then it's not going to be propelling you towards your goals and you're not going to be living a life that is focused on your priorities. Now, to figure out what your priorities are, first you have to know what you're trying to achieve in life, what are your values, what goals do you have, and a good way to do this is to take a look at all the different roles that you have in your life. So for example, you might be a mom and a business owner and a housekeeper, or you might be a dad and an employee and an architect. So all these different jobs that we have in life, maybe you have some other kind of miscellaneous jobs, like maybe you're the choir director or you are in charge of a certain committee. Whatever these different roles that you have in life, what are you trying to achieve in each of those different roles? So in my role of motherhood, I'm trying to train my children to have good character qualities. I'm trying to keep my children safe, keep them healthy. And then a different area of my life is my role of leadership for my marketing agency. And so in my role of leadership, I need to be planning out goals for the marketing agency to achieve, and I need to be creating plans of how we will achieve them. So write out a list of all the different roles that you fill in your life, and then list some of your goals or objectives for each of those different roles. Now, when you first think about this, you might not have any great ideas of goals, like what goals do I have as a mother or as an employee, but once you write out all the different roles and you just start brainstorming, I think that you will come up with some specific objectives of things that you would like to be working towards. Now, these goals don't have to be those super specific goals that we talk about setting sometimes, where it's like, by such and such a date, I will have lost 10 pounds because I will run every single day. It doesn't have to be nearly that specific. These are just general objectives to give you a sense of what you should be driving towards. So for example, as a mother, the role of keeping my children safe, I don't need to have a specific goal of like, Bobby will not get more than 3 hours per day or something like that. That would obviously be ridiculous. You just need to have that goal of, I will keep my children safe, or I will grow my audience month after month. These are just general directions that we're trying to head our life towards. So once you figured out what your priorities in your life are, then it's time to take a look at all the tasks that you have before you. What different things are you spending your time on right now? We need to figure out which ones of those fulfill your priorities, which ones are headed you in the right direction, and which of them are just important stuff that you have to take care of, and which of them are pointless time wasters that you should get off your schedule. To do this, you want to use the important urgent matrix, which is just a little grid of 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is the important and urgent quadrant. So in this category, you would put different tasks that are both very important for achieving your priorities and also quite time sensitive. Quadrant 2 is the important but not urgent quadrant. Quadrant 3 is the urgent but not important quadrant, and quadrant 4 is the not urgent and not important quadrant. Now obviously, if we are focused on our priorities, we want to be more focused on those things that are actually important and less distracted by those things that are just urgent but not actually important. We should be spending most of our time on those quadrant 1 tasks that are important and urgent, and virtually no time on the quadrant 4 tasks that are not urgent and not important. So what you can do is you can take a look at your list of everything that you are responsible for doing or that you have been spending your time on, and put all those different things into the matrix to figure out exactly where you should be spending your time and where you shouldn't. Now, the next step is pretty unrelated actually, and that is to have a monthly calendar where you just record appointments, because you don't want to let your commitments slip through the cracks. So whenever you make a doctor appointment or you agree to have a meeting with someone, whatever it is, if there's another person involved or something that's very time sensitive, you need to put it on your monthly calendar as soon as you schedule it, just so you don't forget about it. Personally, I like to use Google Calendar because it syncs on my computer and on my phone, so I have it with me wherever I go and I can update it really easily. So here is how I actually plan every week. I take a look at my notebook, which I have laid out in a weekly spread so that I can see the whole week at once, and I have lines on each day so that I can write my to-do list items. Then I look at my list of priorities and I think about tasks that I need to do in order to fulfill those priorities. So, for example, if one of my priorities is to grow my audience for my business, then what I need to do is maybe I need to film a YouTube video or I need to post on Facebook. Whatever the tasks are that I need to do in order to drive me towards that priority, those are things that should be priority tasks in my schedule, and so I write those on my weekly schedule. Now, what's great about looking at 1 week at a time is that a week is a complete unit of time, and so you know how much time you generally have on one day or the other. So maybe you know that on Wednesdays you don't have very much time because you have a lot of other commitments, but on Thursdays you have the whole day to yourself. Also, you can plan tasks that maybe you start at the beginning of the week and you finish by the end of the week, or you can plan tasks for the weekend that are more leisure activities. Leisure activities can also help to propel you towards those priorities because, for example, if one of your priorities is to develop your relationship with your child, then maybe you need to plan an activity on a Saturday or Sunday to spend some quality time with them. So I look over my list of my priorities for my different roles in life, and then I figure out what tasks I need to do and I write those on my weekly planner. I have other pages in my planner that I use for creating lists of different things that I need to remember, like grocery lists or people who I need to remember to reply to, but I like to have all of the tasks laid out on my weekly calendar. The last but not to be forgotten step is to copy any appointments from the monthly calendar onto the weekly calendar. So I take a look at the calendar on my phone or on my computer. I see if I have any appointments that I've scheduled ahead of time for this week, and then I copy those onto my weekly calendar. Throughout the week, I only look at the weekly calendar and I have all the times for the appointments written on the weekly calendar. And of course, if any appointments come up during the week that I'm scheduling for the current week, I will just write them on the weekly calendar, and I also put them on the monthly calendar just so I make sure that I don't miss them. So this system is a lot simpler than my old system was. I was using so many different tools with my old system and it was working fine, but I felt like it was too time consuming. This system really just has two tools that I'm using on a regular basis, and they're my monthly calendar that's on my phone and my computer, and I update that on an ongoing basis, and then I have my weekly calendar, which is my planner that I update once a week at the beginning of the week. And there's one more step that's not an essential, but something that I personally like to do a lot of the time, and that's just that whenever I have a really busy day coming up, so if tomorrow is going to be a really busy day, then I always like to write out an actual agenda for the day. So I'll actually write out times and list what I'm going to do at what time, and that can just help me to figure out what order I should be doing my tasks in, and to help me stay on pace so that I manage to get all the tasks done in the day. But that's more of an optional step. I don't do it on the lazier days, but on the days that I have a lot to get done, I have to do that so that I stay on track.
I put a little something extra together for you guys today. I have these templates here that you can use to organize your own life, to plan out your own priorities and your weeks and your days. These templates are completely free, and I'll put a link down in the description below so that you can download them. They're just PDFs, and then you can print them out to plan out your own life. Also, I'll put a link in the description for my blog. I wrote a blog post in which I explained all these steps about how to prioritize and how to plan out your weeks. So if you are more of a visual learner, or you want step-by-step instructions on exactly how to do this, plus some examples of how I organize my schedule, then be sure to click that link to go check out the blog post. And if you enjoy it, leave me a comment and let me know.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I upload 2 new videos every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I talk about intentional living, entrepreneurship, and success. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know that you liked it, so that I can make more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.